that you feel the same. I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.
I don't want to set the world on fire, honey. I love you too much. I just want to start a great big flame down in your heart. You see, way down inside of me, darling, I have only one desire. And that one desire is you. And I know nobody else ain't gonna do.
I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just wanna be the one you love. And with your admission.
And I'm live. And yep, hopefully you can hear me. We'll just double check. Hello everybody, glad to see you all there. Before I give the intro of what the video is all going to be about, I will, oh crying out loud, dog, stop it. Start the stream off and my dog is wrecking things and knocking the green screen around. Being naughty. Trying to cause havoc for me. Hello. Yes, just before we get into what the video is going to be about today and all the rest of it, I will quickly shut down these comments, okay? First of all, I do not dye my hair, although I'm going to have to start doing it soon. I don't know if you can see on the sides, there are some greys coming through now. Thank you very much, Paul. And Richie. And no, I wasn't having a shave, as you can see. I'm a lazy git, and I will shave once every couple of days because I am a bum. Nadia says, nice cut. I did have the haircut, so that's at least something. I'm trying to, try and at least maintain some appearances. We've also got Lolade in the chat. Hello, Lolade. Lolade says, hello, James. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you too. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. So it's good to have you all here. Let me do the quick intro for anybody so that if they're watching this video back afterwards, they can get straight to what the content is about and skip me chatting away about random stuff. Tonight, we are talking about America's war on crypto, and we're talking more specifically about the government's war on crypto and the infrastructure bill, which is being used as a weapon against crypto companies and miners and developers, and we're going to talk about all of that and what that means. We're also going to talk about the fight back against it and how important that is too. Funny enough, the price of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance, and of course Ethereum have been doing pretty damn well this week, even with this stuff looming over our heads. So, are we about to see a supercycle again for Bitcoin? That's going to be in tonight's video too. And if Andre is in the chat, I am going to quickly have a look at ENQ, Enicum, which we'll look at towards the end of the video. It won't be a full deep dive review, but I did promise we'd have a look at it. So we're going to look at that at the end of the video as well. So that's the content for today. No crazy conspiracy theories, but definitely some important news that we do need to talk about and figure out what's going on, because it does look like this infrastructure bill has triggered a whole new kind of political movement. People that weren't particularly bothered about politics maybe before have suddenly been awoken to the idea that, weirdly enough, it seems like mainly Republicans are pro-crypto and the Democrats just want to tax the hell out of it. So that doesn't make much sense to a lot of people, but there we go. And of course, it does mean that if the Democrats don't start making some concessions come 2024, is that the next election? Or yeah, I think it is 2024, isn't it? It might be that there's a red wave just because of how annoyed crypto holders are at being taxed on everything. We'll talk about that in a moment. Oh, dearie me. Right, so now with that little intro out of the way, I'm going to check out your comments. We have got, Richie M has subscribed for 12 months, currently on a 12-month streak. Guys, we know what that means. We know what that means. Let me just quickly say hello to some people in the chat. Who've we got? We've got Nadir, of course, Richie, Paul, Chill Money. Nice to see you in the chat there, Chill. And Paul getting very upset with Americans in the chat there. We've got Jeff in there. Yo, Jeff, nice to see you in the chat. Awesome stuff. Everybody's coming in. Too Legit just subscribe. Oh, that there should be up here so you can see it. Okay, right. There's going to be a double dab. Woohoo! Too Legit. Nice one. Right, here we go then. We've got Too Legit subscribed. Kowza. Hey. How you doing, bro? Good to see you there. Now, Kowza, do you know what the actual... Yes, Richie's already there saying it. You know what the tradition is for a new subscriber or follower? It is a dab. The dab is not dead. We will not let it die. I wasn't a YouTuber when the dab was cool, so I want to bring it back. And that means you get an extra long... an extra long dab, because of course we've got Richie on his 12-month streak as well, and now Kowza is subbed as well. So we are going to do an extra long dab. What is Bitcoin's price right now, guys? Let me just quickly check what Bitcoin's price is at this very precise moment. We are at 46,247. So here we go for the dab. It's dab time. Cheesley's not here. He's gonna get to avoid the cringe. Here we go. It's over 46,000 dab. I reckon I looked like I was having some sort of seizure in that dab. There you go, guys. It is your dab as a thank you for, of course, subscribing to the channel, following us. It's all very cool. I do love it when you do that. So you get the dab. Now let me go and make sure my volume's not too high. I'm worried. Am I peaking? No, looks like it's okay. Excellent. Paul says cringe dab tradition. It is indeed. Too Legit is laughing his head off. God, I'm glad you got your money's worth there, buddy. Oh dear. Chill Money making a good point in here before we get to the content. Technicals and fundamentals both bullish, but yes, these bloody regulations could destroy everything very quickly. So we have got to be very, very wary about what's going on. That's the whole point of tonight's video, though, so we can be prepared for whatever poop storm they decide to throw at us. Let's hope it's not the case, though, and I've got a good feeling that we'll probably come out of this all right. Too Legit says defo worth it. Nice, glad to hear it. Right, let me have a sip of water and we're going to get into tonight's video because there's a lot to unpack, a lot of stuff happening this week. I think what's interesting though is before we get into it all, I do almost feel like what is happening with this whole infrastructure bill is it's kind of actually a really nice advert for Bitcoin and crypto, because a lot of people who weren't really tuned into what Bitcoin was and crypto was, they're now hearing about it on all of the news channels, CNN, all the mainstream news channels like that, MSNBC, all the rest of them. They're all talking about how this crypto amendment is holding up this bill. So a lot of people are going, what on earth is this about? So it is perhaps actually a good thing. but let's go and take a look. Let me get the charts and all the rest of it. We're going to do our market update, of course, first. So I know what's going on there. Come on, go. What have we got? Is that Micah? Micah is asking about Constellation Network. Yeah, actually, before we get started, I will just quickly say that we can look at charts you want to look at, guys, at the end of this video. So please do make sure that you put your suggestions in the chat there, and we will definitely go and take a look at charts for some of these projects. And I'm always happy to hear some suggestions from you out there as well, everybody. So let me just grab up the actual grab up the right page for us, and we can take a look. There we go, and here we are. Market review or market update. What we got in the chat there? Gosh, loads of Micah saying near zero fees for cross-chain swapping. This is on that Constellation Network. Well, we'll take a look. I will have a look at it at the end, definitely. Chill Money is mentioning Injective going big. It also pointed out to me the best project is quite the statement. Yes, not every project is the best project, but there are definitely some good ones out there, and we will take a look at the charts for that one at the end of this video. Okay, let's see. Okay. Where are we at now? I'm just checking out on the group there. Everything's all in order. Stream looks good. Let's get into it. All right. Market looking beautiful today. Absolutely beautiful. Up nearly 5%. Nearly 5% on Bitcoin, of course. $46,232. Ethereum, however, doing really bloody well. 3,150. Very, very pleased with how this is going. And we are seeing some really, really good results across the board, basically, for all of our favorite cryptos. We're not quite back to where we were, but we are heading there. And I think that actually when we look at the charts, geez, look at that, jumping up even higher, just even while we're just talking. It's almost like the more we talk, the more bullish the market gets. Bitcoin dominance has been steadily increasing as well, which is pretty interesting to see. I think that we probably are seeing, obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum leading the pack. But XRP, look at XRP, guys, at 81 cents already. The SEC have not even finished with XRP, and we're already seeing it climb back up. And I do think that, as you know, even Litecoin is climbing as well. So we are seeing lots of really good green across the board. Of course, we will see pullback as we move forward, because that's just the general, the general way that the market works. We get 5 or 6% one day. We might get a few percent pullback tomorrow, just as people will take a bit of profit. But not to worry, we are on that upward trajectory. Too legit, Kauza points out there, need to surpass 3,189 for Ethereum to really break up, and we will look at that now. In fact, before we go into the whole stuff about the infrastructure bill, let's take a look at the charts, because like I said, even though this bill has been bad or could be bad for Bitcoin, the market is definitely pumping regardless. Okay, and so let's take a look and see what's happening with Bitcoin right now. Wrong Bitcoin charts. I want to really have my Binance one up, because that's where we've got our actual charting all done for us already. So as you can see, it was pretty much on the spot when we were talking about this being accumulation. You see there, yeah, a bit early there, I said to you, we would probably either continue to range in it, which we did, or hopefully break out and then find support there before pumping up. And it kind of pretty much happened. In fact, I would have thought that it would have maybe come back down to test a bit lower, maybe even to test the actual 50-day moving average. But as you can see there, it did come back and test that 38,410 level, which I had predicted it would do earlier. Just it was a a few weeks later that it decided to do that, and now we have had this breakout. We are, of course, if you look now, well above all of this resistance here, which means that we're now starting to head up towards the sort of $47,000 level, which is our next level of real resistance. So I think that we're going to see some more gains over the next day or two until we at least come up into this sort of range here. We will probably see some resistance there because, of course, we are heading back up to that all-time high at that point. And, you know, there will be people who are in profit who bought down here or down here, and they will be wanting to maybe make some profit and, you know, maybe even manipulate the market a bit. So we will probably see some of that sort of thing happening. But I do feel like if we can see ourselves get back up here and just even to range a bit, we are then literally back on for the super cycle. I'm not the only one who's saying that right now. We, in my opinion, are heading for 100k Bitcoin, and you know, we are nowhere near the end of the year. We've had our accumulation phase. This all ended up looking very much like that Wyckoff pattern that people were sharing with me, and now we're seeing that breakout properly. So there will be a real blow off top this year, but I think it's going to come towards Christmas. That's when we get to our new all-time high. As you can see there, we have a little bit of room before we get into any real solid resistance now. So let's hope that we get up a little bit more. I'm hoping that we can break 50k this week, but I think that we'll probably find resistance at 50k and maybe a bit of correction there. And we'll probably hopefully find the 200-day become support. So if it does that, it's going to kind of bounce back down and then kind of hover there before breaking up even higher. It does depend what happens with this infrastructure bill, so we'll look at all that in a moment. If you have a look though on our 50-day and 200-day moving averages, we had that def cross, and like I said, and I've maintained the whole time, it's a lagging indicator, which means you're near the bottom. Well, I was right, of course. Not very long after that, this does look like the bottom of this accumulation phase. So it's all looking very, very bullish. I definitely think fundamentals and technically speaking, we are looking at a return to the bull run. Not 100% sure about that. I'd like to see us get back over this support line here, which would mean coming up over 50k. Once we're there, I'm pretty confident that the bull run is back on, everybody. So yes, pretty excited about this market, but I think I've been telling you all since we had the crash down that this was temporary. So yes. Oh dear. So I think Misha got shut up because Misha was shilling a little bit too much there, Richie, I see. Just checking the comments. Oh dear. Causing an argument in my chat there as well, by the looks of it, with Chill. Oh dear. Nadir is agreeing, 50k most important. And Chill saying, I mean, it has a $21 million max supply. Bug thing is that it's over 18 addresses. Litecoin only has 4 million addresses. Bitcoin. What are you talking about? BCH there. Yeah, well, we could have a look at the chart for that one at the end. Chill. Definitely. So Bitcoin looking very bullish. And, you know, as long as this week we don't have a terrible result on this new bill, the infrastructure bill, we should be okay. Let's go and take a look at Ethereum now, because Ethereum is looking pretty interesting too. Okay. And it looks like it's going to do exactly what I was hoping it would do there as well. So, with regards to a def cross, I think I remember saying to you guys that my hope would be that we would get high enough with the price to avoid that def cross happening, and it looks like we've managed it. So that's a good sign. It means that we shouldn't see any prolonged downside on Ethereum at least over the sort of medium term. We have now broken above that resistance level of $2,888. And it does look like we are ranging, at least over the last 3 days, just above that resistance level. So hopefully that means we've flipped that into support. We hopefully will see, in my opinion, maybe a couple of days of ranging here just to gain some real sort of strength in this level. Because if we can turn that into a proper decent support, it does take a good number of days of contact with that to kind of form a decent support. If we can do that, then that provides us with a nice support to get us back up and going. And of course, we aren't really that far off from getting to the all-time high again. I mean, yeah, it's kind of insane, really, when you consider where we are with all the other coins out there, which plunged hundreds of percent, 90%, 80%. We are almost back there, and this is going to be definitely a result of the EIP 1559, which went through on the 5th. I did a video about that last week for you guys, and we talked through what the implications were. Did we see a sell-off? I think we kind of saw a little bit of sell-off, but it really wasn't any big dump of anybody taking profit. Like I said, when we were talking the other day, with what EIP 1559 does, you'd have to be kind of a little bit insane to sell your Ethereum at this point, right? Because we actually saw it with Ethereum after the EIP, the London hard fork went through. We've actually had deflationary blocks. Now, that shouldn't happen too often, but for you guys, if you don't know the technicals, a deflationary block is where more Ethereum was burned as gas fees than was actually created, right? So we actually saw blocks where we were losing Ethereum from the market as a result of EIP 1559, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Of course, if you make Ethereum deflationary, then it brings up the value of all the coins for everybody else, but it does also probably pose some problems, long-term ones, I would assume, with regards to our ability to continue developing on Ethereum. You want to make sure that there is enough supply, because at the end of the day, the Ethereum network is huge right now, but it's going to be even bigger. It is, it is going to be the main platform for smart contracts. And once if the merge happens, which I'm more confident will happen now as a result of how smoothly EIP 1559 went, when that merge happens, the speed, of course, of Ethereum is going to be better, transaction speeds, and we're going to find that it will find even more adoption as we move forward. It's going to be pretty impressive. Now, of course, there are other blockchains which are going to be good for smart contracts as well. Ethereum is not going to be the only player in the space. There is enough room for others. But Ethereum has and is going to maintain the leadership in that space for quite a time, for quite some time. And I'm quite definitely sure that Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin at some point, just because of the sheer utility on that network. So I'm pretty, again, Ethereum looking really bullish right now. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. I just reading through your comments. Chill is talking about Bitcoin BCH, and Richie is saying, to be honest, after the death threats and threatening to desecrate my family's graves on another Twitch channel I'm on, a shitcoin chiller is a nice change. I'm glad that it's a little bit more chilled here for you. Chill is talking about the amount of addresses. So what we've got there, you're saying there, Bitcoin BCH, that's Bitcoin Cash, isn't it? Still has more addresses than Chainlink, for example, which has less than 600,000 addresses. There's only 261,000 Uniswap addresses. That's interesting. We've got, apparently there's over 82 million Ethereum addresses. That means F is number 1, Bitcoin number 2, Bitcoin Cash number 3. People don't have to seem a grasp on this. The popularity of Bitcoin Cash is only increasing. Well, that's interesting. I hadn't even looked at that statistic myself, to be honest with you, Chill. And wallet addresses is a good metric to use. So I might have a look into it. Just for the sheer purpose of, if it's really that popular, then there's probably money to be made there at some point, whether you like it or not as a project. Richie says, I've had a week. Yeah, it does sound like it, mate. What type of other streams have you been modding to get death threats? Oh dear, probably Destiny 2, I bet. We've got Instinct. Is that Instinct in the in Twitch? Saying, hey James, RJR. Oh, RJ, hey bro, how you doing? I just woke up here in Aussie, but from what I've seen on Twitter news was quite positive. Yeah, I think it is. We're going to be getting onto that. We were talking about the charts. I was just going through Bitcoin and going through Ethereum, just to give you guys what my thoughts are, as long as everything goes well this week. Ethereum, I think, is going to range for a day or two. Bitcoin looks like it's going to go up a little bit higher before it finds some tougher resistance. But it's all looking very bullish. I'm thinking short midterm we are going to do well. I think that we may well be back into the actual Supercycle. And Richie says, Richie's saying hello to RJ there. And what are you saying there as well, Richie? Gamers, they don't know how to behave. You guessed it. Yeah, I knew it was something to do with gaming. Oh dear. That's why when I play, Modern Warfare, I switch the chat off. I don't need to hear it. It's just people raging like crazy people. I don't need to hear people smashing up their keyboards because I killed them. I just need to, just knowing I killed them is enough for me, and sent them to the gulag. Right. Let's move to the next section then. We've done our charts. We will look at other coins that you guys want to look at the end of this video. Right now, though, we need to look at this news, because this is what we wanted to find out about. Okay, so what was happening? Right, now we had this infrastructure bill, right? And this was, I think we talked about this actually before it became really popular news. I'm pretty sure that we on the channel here talked about this a month or so ago when it was first being sort of drafted. And I remember we talked about how this is probably only the beginning of the problems in regards to the strength of the dollar, the printing of money. It's not going to be good for America. This infrastructure bill is not what they are making it out to be. But of course, they weren't really talking about taxing crypto at the beginning. Okay, it wasn't saying that. I think we talked about when we first talked about this bill. We were more talking about the actual spending that was being promised in it. And if I remember rightly, they were saying that they weren't going to have to print new money for this bill, because they were going to find other ways to generate it through taxes. And although I don't think they specifically said crypto tax, but they said taxes at that time. And they also talked to us, didn't they, about how this was going to be paid for using the excess coronavirus money that never got actually spent, right? So it's not money that they had and they've earned. It's still printed money, but the idea was that at least they weren't going to print more money for it. Now, we talked about this and we realized that there was a catch. If you remember, at the end of the information and the article about the infrastructure bill, there was a bit of a catch-22, which was that this infrastructure bill will only go through if the Republicans agree to sign a second bill, a second stimulus bill, or actually it'll be a third one now, I suppose, but after this one, another stimulus bill, which would require them to print more money. So they made out that, oh yeah, well, the infrastructure bill is not going to cost any more money, so look, everybody can sign this one. And then Joe Biden turned around and said, yes, but we're not even going to pass this bill unless you all agree with our stimulus bill, a new one, which is going to need us to print trillions of dollars more for absolutely ridiculous pet projects. So it was not, it wasn't really the sort of, it wasn't what they made it out to be. And of course, we even hear, like, at The Guardian, which is a pretty left-leaning newspaper here in the UK, you can see there that they're even pointing out here, the infrastructure bill is being lauded as a victory for bipartisanship, but is it? Yes, of course, it's not finished, and they're apparently going to finish it tonight. But even here in this article, they're talking about how there's a little more self-interest than national interest in this actual bill. And yeah, they do kind of say, that it's some of it's the Republicans, but they also point out in here that it's even the Democrats are putting in stuff that really isn't actually to the benefit of the American people. It's going to end up, it's not really going to help the country as much as they've made out that it's going to help them. And it's not good because infrastructure has been one of those things that they've talked about on, and every sort of different president, from Donald Trump, of course, to Joe Biden, have all said, we need to get infrastructure spending. We've got to get roads fixed. We've got to do this. But a lot of the stuff in this bill is not even going to be helping with that sort of stuff. It's going to be going to pet projects that are just not going to result in new jobs and in better conditions and all the rest of it for the American people. Now, this infrastructure bill, of course, we've seen that they're quite happy to manipulate the media and get the media to say how the infrastructure bill won't cost anything, and then tag on something else that will cost a lot of money and require more printing. But it does, one of the things that we've seen with this bill as well is it's kind of exposed this Janet Yellen. I think this is a great article, by the way, at Trust Nodes, where they're talking about how she's basically corrupt. And I'm not saying she's corrupt, I don't want to get sued, but I'm just referring to the title here. Janet Yellen accused of banking corruption. Now, Yellen basically is on a salary of $221,000 a year for her job at the government. This year, she took $7.2 million for doing talks for Citibank, speaking fees. Okay? But it gets worse than that. It says here, moreover, while this sum might look like a small amount for an open bribe, Yellen's wealth is estimated to be $20 million. So she's been given in 1 year almost half her net worth by just one bank. So, the great point, and I think it's a brilliant point they make here, is that the fact that she received this much more money from a bank than her actual salary makes it very clear that she is actually, where her loyalties lie, okay? There's a conflict of interest there, isn't there? If you're paid more money by a bank than you're being paid for to do your job, where will your loyalties end up lying? Let's be honest here, guys. It's a fair point. Now, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's enough to say, definitively that she's corrupt. But let's be honest, it doesn't look legit, does it? And Richie points out in the chat on Twitch, nice work if you can get it. Yeah, well, that's it. These fees are just phenomenal, right? They get paid. And if she was retired, okay, fine. She isn't directly influencing the actual price. She isn't directly influencing policy at that point. But she is in a position of power, right? She's the blooming Treasury Secretary, right? Mark is in the chat. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us, mate. That's great. A lovely comment. Thank you. Says, good show, good content. I do appreciate that. That's awesome. And Paul points out there, money printer goes brrr. Exactly. It does. Now, with this Janet Yellen, the other thing to point out here, right, is that in this infrastructure bill, they decided that they were going to slip in crypto taxes, okay? And so they were like, look, we're going to tax crypto miners, okay? And then they were like, oh, we're going to tax crypto brokers, we're going to tax this, that, and other elements of the crypto space. The biggest problem I think we'll find is that either these people don't really understand crypto, or they do fully understand crypto and they're trying to basically pretend their ignorance is the reason why they're just making up what looks like stupid laws, you know, because one of the things that's happened is that they've decided in this bill that they were also going to go after developers. So if you're a DeFi developer, right, they were going to tax you and make you liable for KYC, you know your customer, all these AML procedures, anti-money laundering stuff, make you as a developer liable for it and tax you as if you were a miner as well, or a broker or an exchange, right? So, they stuck all this stuff in, and of course you could say, well, that's just stupid, but you know, you might excuse it like I almost did, which is saying, well, they don't know anything about crypto, clearly. Well, maybe they know plenty about crypto and they're just hoping that we'll think they're just being stupid, and that's why they're making these dumb laws up. But really, they're making them up because they want to kind of shut things down. There is a war against crypto in especially when you think about it. Why would Citibank pay Yellen loads of money to do talks? Because they want to have influence over her. Is Citibank overly happy with DeFi? I mean, what do we get with DeFi? We get the ability to lend, borrow, and hedge against crypto, right? We don't need Citibank to be able to use DeFi. And when the World Economic Forum, and this isn't even having to put my tinfoil hat on for this bit, although normally when we talk about the World Economic Forum we have to put the tinfoil hat on. This is actually true because I showed you guys their document that they put out a few months ago. I think it was December, wasn't it? The document which was about DeFi protocols and how banks and governments should be using it and regulating for it. So we know that this is all stuff that they're worried about. They just want to pretend that it isn't something that worries them. And of course, Janet Yellen is the person who actually pushed to have this inserted as an amendment to go after developers into this bill. Okay, and she got 2 Democrats to back it and put it forward as an amendment. So she's having a direct influence over the bill. She's obviously calling the shots in some ways. Is it because she's being influenced? And that's, I suppose, what the point of the trust nodes story is that, you know, there is potentially evidence there that her allegiance is not with, the country, but more with the banks and the money that she's able to pocket from talking fees. Of course, all speculation, and I am not accusing her of anything. You just take a look at what's in the news and look at the evidence, and you decide what that actually means, I guess. Let's go back, though, to the next couple of articles and see what's going on as a result. Now, this amendment that I talk about, the one that actually brings in the rules against the actual DeFi developers. She actually introduced that after it looked like we had an amendment being agreed, a bipartisan amendment, which would have meant that the language was tightened up surrounding who would be taxed and how they would be taxed. And the point is that they would only tax exchanges and brokers, okay? And in fact, actually, miners wouldn't get taxed, or people that, or people that provide proof of stake and all the rest of it, right? That was actually bipartisan. There was a couple of Democrats, but it was put forward by Pat Toomey, who I believe is a Republican. And it does seem like the Republicans have a better understanding of crypto. Like we've said, it's funny, isn't it? We've got people like Cynthia Loomis, Republican, and you've got other Republicans and Republican states that are all kind of getting on board with crypto, and they're letting people come in and do mining and all that sort of stuff. And I'm surprised, because I would have honestly thought that it would be the Democrats that would be into it because of being progressive and it being about freeing people from the banking cartels and all the rest of it. But of course, they're not interested. They're not interested. And I guess it's because, let's be honest, most Democrats are not really progressive in any way whatsoever. They just pretend to be. Let's get that next article up anyway and take a look. So, an hour ago, there was some breaking news. US lawmakers behind crypto amendments to infrastructure bill introduced compromise. Now, the details of this compromise, let's hope that it's enough to stave off, basically, the market crashing. And I think it might be, because this came out an hour ago and the price of Bitcoin is still doing very, very well. And if this was going to cause a big crash, I would have thought we'd start to see that take effect now. Blimey. Thirsty tonight. That's all this talking. So let's go into this and have a look. So Pat Toomey basically said there's a bipartisan agreement on the amendment to Infrastructure Bill HR 3684, backed by Cynthia Loomis, Rob Portman, Mark Warner, Kirsten Sinema, and Ron Wyden. The Pennsylvania lawmaker said the new amendment would exempt software developers, transaction validators, and node operators, while tax reporting requirements should only apply to intermediaries. They've made it clear here, look, that they want... It's basically to provide clarity on the rules of who are the actual brokers of cryptocurrency. They don't want to propose anything radical or sweeping. The solution is just to make sure that it's clear what a broker is, and only those persons who conduct transactions where consumers buy, sell, and trade digital assets are affected. Now, this is definitely better, and let's be honest, this is not really far off what's happening now anyway. If you want to use an exchange in your country, I imagine that you had to do KYC, you had to show your ID, you had to sign up to an account, and they are probably following the rules, the laws of the country where they're operating, right? So most are regulatory compliant. This won't be that big of a difference. They will need to be tax compliant. They will need to actually provide financial information. The thing we need to be careful about is how much information do they want? Do they want individual account holders, tax details? They can actually, if they know you have an account, they can actually subpoena, I believe it's subpoena in America, isn't it? The exchange, and actually request access to your financials if they believe that you're doing fraud and all the rest of it anyway. But it's about the kind of ease at which they can do that. If this amendment makes it super easy for them to pardon me, if it makes it super easy for them to spy on people's finances, then it's still not a great amendment. But like Tumis points out, none of us think this is an absolutely perfect solution, but it's much better than the underlying text. So the hope is that this will exempt, this will exempt enough people that, You won't have normal people being targeted. You won't have developers being chased or node validators. And one of the reasons for this as well is the hypocrisy is ridiculous, right? So one of the things we hear a lot about as something that people get upset about is, you know, how bad for the environment Bitcoin mining is. You know, proof of work takes a lot of energy. It's not a lie. But at the end of the day, this bill was going to basically say that proof of work was fine, that they would be exempt. But if you're a node validator doing proof of stake, which is meant to be better for the environment, you'd have fallen into the category for all of these problems. So, yes, not good. Richie's put something in the comments. Let's just check that out. What's this? Ted Cruz trying to push through something else to strike the entire crypto section. And Senator Shelby is advocating to block that as well, once again, for military spending. Objection upheld. Unanimous consent fails again. Right. Okay. So Ted Cruz, again a Republican, he's been very pro-crypto, right? He was only the other day he was saying about how this is terrible for the crypto industry. It shouldn't be allowed to go through. And now he's tried again. And I'm guessing then from what you're saying that. Oh, bear with me. Why is it trying to make me leave? Oh, right. That's fine. I just clicked your link and it's saying leave YouTube. Oh, no. Watch this, guys. Watch this and be very, very cautious now. I don't want to be bearish because the fundamentals are great for Bitcoin, but I've just opened that article. Thank you, Richie. This is live breaking news. Breaking news. I should have a little musical thing going on at the bottom. Dun, 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 dun. I'm sorry. I've got breaking news here from Richie. Richie is letting me know about this breaking news. And the breaking news is really bloody terrible, guys. Okay. $50 billion defense spending amendment kills Bitcoin-friendly legislation. Original problematic text going to final vote. Okay, I haven't read this yet, so we're just going to do a cold reading of this news article, guys. But I think that it's very important we do this. Compromise crypto amendment between Senator Cynthia Lummis, Pat Toomey, and the US Treasury failed to make it to the final version of the bill. Today in the Senate, Senator Toomey introduced a process known as unanimous consent, which required 0 objections to pass a motion. Although support for the compromise agreement was widespread, it failed on the objection of Senator Richard Shelby, a Republican, who objected with the request of including a $50 billion defense amendment to the bill. Then, in the last-ditch effort, Senator Ted Cruz asked for unanimous consent on his own amendment, which would have stricken the crypto language from the bill altogether. However, Shelby objected for the same reasons. What's the betting that Shelby is a rhino, a Republican in name only, probably an old-school Republican who is on the payroll of the banks, just like every other member of bloody Congress? That is very interesting. There had been optimism this morning when the bipartisan group of senators which had been promoting competing agreements over the past few days that the problematic language from the original bill would be struck before a final vote. In particular, Senators Ron Wyden, Cynthia Lummis and Pat Toomey objected to vague language that would require any node or miner, as well as software developers, to be categorized as a broker and produced 1099s for crypto users. The compromise language would have exempted these entities to primarily focus on crypto exchanges such as Coinbase. Which makes sense. That's where the money is being traded. Not good. Okay. With no more paths to alter the bill's language, the next step in this process is for the $1.2 trillion bill to be voted on its entirety by the Senate, which could happen any time. Given the bipartisan nature of the bill it's expected to pass, it must then be reconciled with a version produced by the 435 members House of Representatives before getting signed by President Biden and becoming law. Actual implementation of the law is expected in 2023. So, all right, this is not good news. We may see some wobbling in the market. Where are we at the moment? Are we seeing any... Well, no, nothing really dramatic. Okay. It is still early, though, mind you. But, yes, that's very, very bad news, guys. Sorry that it had to be bad news. But it's breaking news. At least you know to be careful and keep an eye on things. Thank you, Richie, for pointing that out. It's very much appreciated for that. Okay, guys, we do need to be wary then. This is not good, but it is at least we know what we're expecting now. It still has a few phases to go through. There may be some objections when it goes up to the Senate. Let's hope so. The other hope that we have is 2023 is after the midterms, I believe. I'm sorry to say this, but let's hope that we start seeing some of these people get primaried and removed from position before maybe there's a chance. I don't know. There's a way to bring it back. Let me just load something up for you, because I think that this is where we are heading. I honestly believe that what's happened here with this whole... Jeff says that it seems like they're making decisions on something they don't understand. Exactly. I mean, to be turning around saying that node operators are brokers? I mean, it's absolute stupid. Hayden, how are you doing, bro? Hayden is my brother. He has joined us late joining. Quick recap. Yeah, I'll do you a quick recap. Let me just wind up this section that we talked about, and then we will do a quick recap for you, bro. I'm going to load up this actually anyway, because I think that this is super important and I completely back them on this. So Masari, where is it? Let me find the post on LinkedIn. They've been in the news with this anyway. Here we go. Right, I've got the article here. Oh, hang on. Let me bring it over to the main. Everybody's saying hello to Hayden. Yeah, that's it. Say hi to my brother. He is my younger brother. He is younger than me, but he looks damn old. More handsome. Well, yeah, but old. Oh dear. Yes. I mean, but if he looks better looking, he must be one handsome devil, right? Oh dear. Chill, you're right there talking about this. The Congress do need crypto specialists, but let's be honest, they're not really interested in learning. Hayden says too hard to improve. Very, very kind of you, bro. Very kind. Paul makes a great point there in the chat. Hayden is also fashionably late. So, bro, one of the things that I get often accused of is being late to my own stream, which is not an unfair accusation. Oh, dear me. Richie, if there were ladies in the chat, they'd be throwing panties. Well, yes. I mean, we can't get enough women into crypto, though, can we? I mean, that's our biggest problem, guys. Right, I'm going to grab that Masari article and I'm going to bring that over to the main screen. So well, it's not an article, it's their post. Oh, where's it gone? Of course, I lost the bloody page. Bear with me. Let me find it again. I just dragged it off. It's disappeared onto one of my many monitors. Posts. Recent. Come on. Here we go. So Masari have begun a bit of a Well, they're angry, of course, and for good reason. They have basically begun... Oh, I've lost the bloody post now. I apologise. Let's see if we can find it over here. Let's just do a search for it. I'll do it in a new tab. Basically, anyway, their CEO has decided that he's going to start getting political and thinks that we need to. Because at the end of the day, what do banks do and do very well? They lobby governments, and they pay enough fees for these treasury secretaries to turn around and make laws that benefit them and stop, obviously, crypto in its tracks. So what can we do about it? We have to get political, guys. I honestly believe that this bill could be enough to awaken a new type of voter, a crypto voter, a one-issue voter whose only vote will go to whoever is most crypto-friendly. I honestly believe that is going to happen now as a result of this, because people are waking up to the fact that governments, and I've been saying it for ages, governments will try to control it because they need to. We need to get smart about how we do it. And that's either we educate them, all right, or we spend enough money to put people in power. And that's how it works, let's be honest. It's not about who you really care about and who you vote for. It's who spends enough money on who, right? We spend enough money getting people into positions of power who are crypto friendly. Does that end up making us as corrupt as the banking sector? Well, quite possibly in the long run, but at least our projects are decentralized. But yes, I can't find it. It was Masari back primary. Well, hold on. Masari primary. Oh, I can't spell. Come on. I can't find it, but basically the article is basically that Masari they've been asking people to write to their senators to complain about this, to get active, but they've also said, their CEO turned around and said that he is going to start funding primaries against anybody who votes for this bill. Anybody who is anti-crypto, they're going to start primarying against them. So it's going to be interesting to see how many others come on board for this. And I don't think it matters what party you're a member of. That he's saying that they're going after them regardless. So it's yeah. Chill says, yeah, given the bipartisan nature of the bill, it's expected to pass. Exactly. Gonna have to set some stop limit orders. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't cause too much of a dip in the price. But yeah, bad news is always bad news. So Hayden, you're in the chat there. You wanted a quick recap, and I guess I can do that for everybody else. And before I do that, though, I did just spot Richie's comment there. So when we were saying about we can't get enough ladies into crypto, Richie points out there that Ben scared off our last one. Oh no, we've got Jennifer. Of course, Jennifer's here. Brilliant. Excellent. You've just saved us, Jen. You've saved us. Of course, though, Jennifer is a classy lady. She is not going to be throwing any panties around, as she says in the chat there. Oh, dearie me. Well, that's great news to hear as well. Chill says that Crypto Pig, right now you are ahead of all the crypto YouTubers. Honestly, congratulations. Thank you very much. 100% of that is thank you, though, to Richie for finding that article while we were talking. But actually, to be fair, I didn't think I've seen a lot of YouTubers today talking about this bill that much. They've been talking about, they didn't, obviously weren't there for the breaking news. So thank you, Richie, for finding that. So as a recap for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning, including Hayden. What have we talked about so far tonight? Let's do a quick run through of what we talked about. So we did our quick crypto review. Bitcoin was up nearly 6%. Ethereum was up nearly 6%. These are pulling back now, guys. Maybe that news is starting to hit home for people. Let's hope that it is not a flash crash as a result of it. But let's be honest, this sort of thing can have an effect on the market. Let's hope not. But before that, we were pretty happy and bullish because everything was dark green. But also remember, I did say we were at 5-6%, so some pullback would have been expected anyway. I'm hoping that that's what's going on now, not that people are going to panic. But to be honest with you, if we see a panic, it will be a pretty large, volume on the candle there. We're not seeing that right now. If we go over to the one, actually, let's go even like lower time frame. Let's go on the 15 minutes. Okay, so actually, we just had that news break. Oh, that, I don't know, guys. That could be. I mean, we're only down. Maybe we're panicking for nothing. Okay, down 2.6% is nothing, is it really? But yeah. We got some points there. I'll go once I've done my recap. Instinct. I'll reply to you about your comments there about risk management. As you can see there, though, we already hit that on Ethereum. At least we hit the where are we? 15 minutes. Okay, so we've hit the 200. So it's not 200 minutes. It's what, 200 times 15, whatever that is. Level, it's not really important. Let's go back into our 1 hour and check out where we are. All right, so on the 1 hour, we are at the 50-hour moving average and finding support there. So maybe this is just a little bit of pullback. I mean, to be fair, like I said, a bit of pullback after we've done so well is not something to worry about. I was just more worried that we would see this big sudden plunge in the price. Doesn't look like that's happening just yet. Let's go to Bitcoin, take a look. So Hayden, basically you've come in at an interesting point. Right before this, we were talking about how there's a bill going through, which is basically not going to be good for crypto. There were some amendments being proposed which would stave off a lot of the negativity, but they've not been accepted. And that happened literally during the live stream. So we're just checking now to see if any of that news has hit the market yet, and it doesn't look like it. Over on Bitcoin, still holding pretty strong here at around 45,600. Pardon me. We got Private Crypto in the chat. Hey, woohoo! Caught you finally, he says. Great, I'm glad to see you there. Thank you for joining us. And I'm doing a recap right now, so you'll get to sort of find out what we were talking about earlier. So we went through the charts. You can see there that overall, massively bullish on Bitcoin and on Ethereum and the rest of the market. The fundamentals are really good for it. And actually, if we go back to the 1 day, ignoring the bad news today, if we have a look here, we broke out and we actually did find support at the sort of level I thought we would, just a little bit later down the line. And now we are kind of heading up towards what will be the next sort of real strong resistance level of around 50k. I'm hoping that we'll try and get there this week, at least get ourselves up over that 200-day moving average. Ethereum as well looks like it's going to range for a few days, and then hopefully we'll see a breakout and an attempt up back towards the all-time high. And like we said with Ethereum, it's only about, was it 40% away from its all-time high? So Ethereum could well be the first asset out of all of our sort of cryptocurrencies to get back to the pre-dump price. So hopefully nobody sold off all of their Ethereum. And I think when we were talking last week, who was it? Was it no, it wasn't RJ. It may well have been C. It might have been. I'm trying to remember who it was. Forget who it was now. Sorry. One of you guys was in a leveraged position on Ethereum, and I had said just to be careful with that because people might sell off once the London upgrade happened. And of course, there was a bit of sell-off, but it didn't really materialize. I did say, though, that anybody who sells their Ethereum would kind of be crazy at that point. But leverage positions are a little bit different because if there is any substantial pullback, your account could be wiped out. So that was the only reason I said that last week when we were talking about Ethereum. But I did say anybody who just bought Ethereum would be crazy to sell it because obviously now, and this is something that's a recap, we've had some deflationary blocks where we've actually burned more Ethereum in gas fees than we actually produced as rewards. So it means that there will be less Ethereum on the market available. It shouldn't happen too often, to be honest with you. If it works properly, you shouldn't see too many deflationary blocks. But it's got people pretty excited about Ethereum because, of course, it's going to be the biggest network and probably the number one crypto at some point soon in the future. We then talked about this infrastructure bill, what it actually means, and about the fact that Janet Yellen, who is the Treasury Secretary, is basically looks very corrupt. Her government salary is only $221,400 a year. However, she was paid $7.2 million this year for speaking fees at Citibank. And if you're being paid that much for talking to a bank, where do your real loyalties lie? Is it with your $221,000 a year job, or is it going to be to the bank that pays you 50% of your net worth? We all know the answer to that. Of course, we can't say it out loud because that would be probably enough to get me told off. But the point anyway is that she's being paid by the banks, and Citibank don't like DeFi because DeFi means that they are not necessary. Citibank basically makes its money from lending, borrowing, and all the rest of it. So if you could do that with crypto, it's a threat to them. We then talked about how there was this bipartisan bill amendment that would fix the problems to that bill. But unfortunately, while we were talking about that, the breaking news came in that the $50 billion defense spending amendment has killed the Bitcoin-friendly legislation, meaning that it's returned to the original problematic text, which now means that if this all continues, and it's gone through, it will now go to the Senate. If it's allowed to then be signed off by President Biden into law, if you're a developer, if you literally just code a DeFi project, you are going to be liable for tax. You're going to be liable for KYC, know your customer, and anti-money laundering. If you are a node operator, you're going to be liable for all that stuff. If you're a miner, you're going to be liable for all that stuff. You're going to be treated the same as a broker and an exchange, which is absolutely crazy and insane and could damage the market. Hopefully not. Hopefully people are feeling more positive about things than they think that the market could still go up higher. Yes, private crypto, I am sorry to tell you, that is exactly what's happened, mate. What the F, he says in the chat there, is exactly the problem we have right now. Yes, Richie, I saw Instinct's question. I'm going to definitely answer that now. So, yes. Instinct is asking. First, pointing out OMI a while ago. So Instinct saying there, so first thing you're doing is you're pointing out that you got OMI a while ago and scored a Spider-Man release on Vive the other night. Nice one. Because I still haven't been able to get anything on there. For anybody wondering, Vive is a very cool NFT app where it's all licensed NFTs from comic books, basically anything geeky that I would like. You can get it as a 3D augmented reality object in the Vive app. It's a super cool project. Very, very, very awesome. But really, it's weird. It's a weird one because it's over on OMI, which is it's a nice NFT, says Nadir, exactly. But it's over on Omni-chain, which is a version of Ethereum, which isn't very popular. It's like very sort of like under the radar. But Vive, the app, is really super popular. So it's quite an interesting one. And nobody can actually get hold of any of the actual NFTs, apart from, of course, Private Crypto. Instinct, who managed to grab one. No, I didn't get a Spider-Man release. No, I to be fair, I haven't been on the app for a little while because I kind of like lost hope. But if you managed it, I'm gonna have to try again because I do want to get some cool ones over there. But the real question you had, of course, Instinct, is how are you managing your risk with the recent breaking news? You're tempted to exit some positions. Got a little one coming early next year. Okay, your first kid as well. Things get very expensive with kids. And I can completely understand why you might be thinking about exiting your positions. Personally, I feel like the Supercycle is still intact. Okay. He says first one. Oh dear. A little tip for you. Don't when you're, if you're going to share feeding duties and you're going to do bottle duty at night, don't sit and watch your favorite films while feeding the baby, because your kid will turn into a nut job. And what I mean is, don't sit there and watch things like Alien and all the rest of it. I did that with my youngest, and he is the craziest little kid I've ever met in my life. I'm only joking. He's brilliant, but I blame it on the fact that I sat there feeding him at night, watching things like Terminator and all the rest of it. Which is why he's a complete nightmare, doesn't listen to anything I say, is rude to me all the time, and gets away with it. Oh dear. But I do love him very, very much. Oh dear. No, but Hayden, so I can vouch for him. Yeah. Oh, bless him. He's a good kid, though. He's lovely, really. I'm really kidding around with you, half joking. But he's got confidence. I'll give him that. But yeah, I would say for your Instinct, your first kid coming, it's going to be tempting for you to obviously sell your crypto and have that money for baby things and all the rest of it. And of course, I'm not giving any financial advice, right? Having kids is expensive, but what you'll find is that as long as you're kind of determined and you work hard, you'll make it work, right? Do you know what I mean? Like you'll find a way to be able to afford the things you want to do and still have a bit of a life and be a family person, right? If you really want it, you can do it. Yeah, there will be sacrifices. Do you want to give up your crypto? I personally would not want to be selling up my crypto. In a lot of ways, I'm thinking, would you drag everything out of your savings account if it was your savings account? And I honestly look at crypto like it is a savings account now, right? What's I say? A bit of a life. A bit is a keyword, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I would say, the way I see crypto is like a savings account, because you're going to get, probably, even if you bought some shit coins, you'll probably end up with a better return than on your bank account, your bank savings account, where your interest rate's nothing anyway. I think that the way to manage it in this situation right now is just to maybe look at setting some stop losses. If you have some coins that you're not really overly into, as in you're not, you don't really believe in them, they're just ones that you bought speculatively, then yeah, maybe you could sell those off, use that money for some of the stuff that you need to do, or to put it into some of the more solid coins. I mean, I honestly believe things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, look at what they're doing right now. We can see that, you know, they are surviving these sell-offs, right? And we are still, we're not a mainstream adoption yet, but we are so close to it. So if you've got projects that maybe you're not that bothered about, maybe sell those up, use the money for other stuff. At the end of the day, I would say, and this is, I suppose, a sensible way of looking at it, right, is that why do we invest money into stuff? Okay. Lots of people have different goals. Some people will be doing it because they want to be able to afford that Ferrari or Lambo or whatever it is, you know. But realistically, what, you know, if we're all realistic about what we're going to do with our money, right? As a family person, am I going to go and buy a Lambo? You know, well, maybe. I am getting close to 40, so I am near that midlife crisis. My kids are older, so maybe I'll get a Lambo. But you know, if you're new and you've just started up your family, your priorities are going to be different. It's going to be about having security. It's going to be about making sure that you can afford to do really nice things with your kids while they're little, all that sort of stuff. And we invest money for those reasons, right? So, you know, if we have a bad time where money's tight, where the market seems bad, or, you know, people are losing jobs, let's say that we go into a new depression, right? Which is something I think is going to happen. We've talked about a lot. If that's going to happen, well, what's your investment for? It's there as a hedge. It's there as a protection, right? So if you have to take your crypto out to basically live and to protect yourself and to be able to do the things you need to do, well, that's what it was really for in the first place. And you shouldn't feel guilty about that. Just, you know, maybe think about getting back into it once things are settled. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you know, if there's obviously the chance that some of these cryptos, you know, if you buy now, you could make still a lot of money. But if you buy in, say, a year's time, say you sell everything now and you buy in a year's time, you may only make 3 or 4% in a year because the market settles down and it ends up acting just like stocks and all the rest of it. If that's what happens, it's what happens. But at the end of the day, that's, you know, we're investing for you know, we're investing to make sure we have good lives, okay? And if that's what ends up happening, but you have a good life, well, you know, good on you. Do you know what I mean? If you sell it out of fear and panic, that's where I would say that's stupid, right? But if you're selling it because you need to have certain things in your life, and you know, you've got priorities, good on you. Honestly, that's what it's for. And of course, this is not financial advice, at least not legal, definitive financial advice. This is me chatting with some friends on Twitch, right? With regards to an actual strategy, I would be looking at, of course, what's our next support levels, and then looking at actual what would be a good safe exit point if things were to collapse. Personally, looking at Bitcoin, I would probably wait and hold on and see if we broke down below here where we were. If we went back into this channel, I might sell, right? Although long term, I mean, I'm pretty happy to just hold it forever. So I might not sell. But if I was thinking, you know, strategically, what will I do? I would say, yeah, if we come back into this channel, I might sell, because we may, you know, that may be that we see ourselves break down and head down lower and then buy in again. Yeah, that would be where I'd be looking on Bitcoin. And as the rest of the market follows Bitcoin, if you see a massive dump in Bitcoin, then you know the rest of the market's going to start heading that way. So you can just kind of base your strategy off of that. Look for those levels of support and set your stop loss just below them. Like, for example, if you're in profit now and maybe you bought here on the breakout, you might want to set your stop loss just below this level here, around sort of 37k. Okay, it's quite possible that we come back down and find support around there, but you know, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we'll actually find our support at the at this level here of around 38,663. So you just have to kind of you have to play it by ear a bit at the moment. This news may not have the big impact that we think it's going to have, and I don't want people to start selling up and panicking when, you know, it may be that this doesn't have that big an effect on the market. Let's see. I'm feeling pretty bullish about it still. So that's my non-financial financial advice, I guess, for you. Right. So let's go and let's have a look. Paul says, sell your missus first. If she really loves you, she'll take you back. Oh dear. Richie asking my brother if I've always waffled on so much. I do, mate, I do. And yeah, he will. But you know what, though? You're very lucky because we don't really talk politics on the channel. If we talked politics, then I would really waffle. So let's move swiftly on, I think, because I didn't realise we've been on 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm not going to get to, I don't think Andre's in the chat anyway, so I'm not going to get to ENQ, but I will, yes, wrapping up exactly. I will take a look at one chart for you guys. So I know that some of you asked earlier, but whoever asked me first, fastest, gets me to look at a chart now. So whoever asks gets the chart that they want looked at. Time is ticking. Thanks, Aiden. Sorry, I zoned out. Old habit. Oh, private wins Matic. All right, then. So Matic it is. We're going to look at Matic. And actually, if you guys want to put some chart suggestions in the chat, tonight I am putting out the dot from Paul. Stick them in there because what I will do is I'm doing the CryptoPig newsletter tonight. So if you haven't already signed up to that, please do. I will share a link with you, actually. Let me grab the link very, very quickly now. So I'm doing a newsletter every Monday, guys, which is completely free. So you can sign up to it. I'm getting the biggest bits of news in there with my opinion, and then some charts as well for you as well. So lots and lots of really cool stuff in there, and those charts that you've mentioned there, ALCX dot, I'll stick them, I'll do the chart and stick those in the newsletter tonight. So I've just shared that link on YouTube in the chat, and for those of you over on Twitch, here's the link for that as well. So if you get yourselves over there and sign up, I think that should work. Let me just check it, make sure it's the right link. There you go, CryptoPig Weekly. If you guys want to go over there and sign up to it, any of the charts that I haven't got round to today for you, I will try and do some of them tonight and put in that newsletter. There you go, this is it. Last week was the first one. Nice to see we've already got 8 subscribers on there. That's awesome stuff. Previous issue, you can see I make a good effort on it. It looks very nice. A link to the video, of course, that we've just done. Tweets from my favourite Twitter, crypto Twitter people. And, of course, any news that I feel was worth sharing with you. And then charts, which I put together for you as well. So do go over there, sign up to it. It's free to sign up to once a week on a Monday. You know, it'll be awesome to, you know, have you all join me there as well. So yeah, if you can sign up to that, that'd be awesome. I'll do those charts for you then. So the one that we'll do live tonight, though, before we finish up, is of course Matic. And Matic is one that I love, and I've talked about many times before. So let's go and take a look at where we're at now. So, okay, wow, when we were last talking about it, we must have been around here in July then, I'm guessing, because we drew in that symmetrical triangle. descending triangle. Interesting, isn't it? Because I think I said to you guys then that you know, sometimes this is a bearish because we're seeing more and more pressure on the price. And look what happened as we got to the end of it. It did break down, but found, actually, happily enough, found support on the 200-day moving average and brought itself back up and onto that support level. So that is fantastic news for Matic. Obviously, this, if I'd been watching, would have made me slightly worried. Although, having said that, check out the volume there. It wasn't like a big, massive panic sell-off. The volume was pretty damn low for that bearish week that it had. And then, of course, some really good volume, getting it back up and, back up over that support line. So, pretty good. It looks like it's going to hold here at $1.10. And we are going to avoid that def cross on the 200-day and the 50-day moving averages. So that's looking pretty bullish there. As long as like this news today doesn't make the market crash down, we'll probably see some more ranging for Matic. I can't tell you how long it's going to range for. It's still within sort of the boundaries there on the RSI. So we could probably see it range for maybe a couple of weeks. Let's see what we had out of it last time there. If we take it from here, actually on that last time it was sort of sat, we were looking at 19 days. So it could be that we see it range for another week or so. It definitely, once if it stays here, once the rest of the altcoins start moving, this one will look very much primed to pump. So good to see that that's happened there. And I think I can hear my missus coming down the stairs. So that probably means that it is time to wrap things up, I think. Oh dear. So yes, guys, make sure you, if you aren't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter as well. Make sure that you get over to review and sign up to the newsletter. I will do those other charts for you tonight and stick them in there. You are very welcome there, Private, and Instinct as well. You're very welcome too. So with that all said, thank you very much, guys, for all joining me. It's been, again, a lovely, lovely evening to chat with you all and to go through all that news. Great that we had the breaking news. We were able to break it first here. Richie, I really appreciate you finding that while we were chatting. Fantastic stuff. Richie really is the best mod you could ever hope for. And that's not to say anything bad about any other mods, because we've had some great mods on the channel. But you just gave us a pretty decent win there on tonight's stream. So I do appreciate it. Thanks, Jumbo. You're welcome, Hayden. You're very welcome. So guys, I hope you all have a great night. I will see you all, of course, Friday night next. I thought you meant Jimbo. Or was it a sly kind of dig at me, bro? Anyway, thanks, bro, for joining us as well. I do appreciate that. It's really great. And so everybody also on Twitch too, thank you for being with us. And I will Private Crypto saying stay handsome. That's me, of course, you're talking to, not Hayden. Jeff, thank you as well. Guys, really love it. It's great. Join the newsletter. I'm going to catch you all. Hayden's trying to make an excuse there. Pure accident. Sure it is, bro. Sure it is. All right. Love you all, guys. Have a great night. And I will, of course, see you all on Friday. Take care. And let's hope that we don't see any big panic crash now. Bye.